Hello everyone. In this video, and this is going to be a bit of a long one, we're going to be discussing what is a brain dump and how to make the most of it. So whether you're taking a live or virtual live or self-paced class with me, whether it's with Crosswind or one of the companies that myself and Crosswind partner with, whether you're watching this on YouTube and you're going, I need to listen more to this guy. However it plays out, this is hopefully going to help you get a lot of stuff organized in your head right before the test. Now, let me talk about briefly what it's not anymore, as the jokingly tone of voice is created. Back in the day, we used to get 3 sheets of paper, 2 pencils, and we could copy things down during the tutorial, where it would go, this is a window, this is a mouse, and we'd be copying away from short-term memory so we could look at things. You can't do that anymore. They got rid of it during the tutorial, and then with shifting to testing from home, at home you've got to have a virtual whiteboard, and we're hearing some test centers virtual whiteboards, some test centers you get laminated sheets. Well, bottom line is you've got to copy whatever you're going to copy during your 4 hours of the exam. And so you got to be effective with what you're doing. You can't take forever to do it. And my goal would be for anything that could potentially bite you in the rear when you least need it to on this test, that's something you want to be copying. So I'm going to show you a document that we'll have a link for in a PDF here on the comments below in the YouTube channel. But the thing is, you'll start out laying it out, looking at it, and copying it. And you'll come up with your own version of what works for you. If you're a Six Sigma black belt, you're not going to be copying the quality section. If you do earn value every day for a living, you're probably not going to be copying those formulas, but you will start to customize it as you get your arms around it. Until then, it's going to be very painful looking at it and copying it, looking at it and copying it. So what is a brain dump nowadays? These are things that are good to have in your short-term memory before the test. Watch the 3 whiteboard videos, the virtual whiteboard videos I created. They will show you how to get one side of this on the virtual whiteboard as far as how to do a network diagram and earn value as well. When people used to be able to copy this on paper, commonly they would tell me I never looked at it, or I might have looked at it once or twice. Well, the reality is this. If you got it in your short-term memory, you're probably not going to look at it. But if you've got it there and you have a brain hiccup, or you got it in your virtual dry erase board, you can go look at it as a reminder. Now, again, it hurts a lot to do it when you're starting. So don't give up. Stick to it. I suggest, possibly writing a date and a start and stop time on it. And that way, what will happen as you go on, you're going to see that you get faster at it. And that can be a motivator. But study wins the race. I'd rather have you do it once a day than once every other day. Just consistently, steadily chipping away at it. Shortcuts come into play as well. So on the process side of things, I'll point out on side 2, if something's in the executing column and it begins with M, it's manage. If it's in the monitoring and controlling column, it begins with monitor, not manage. And then all knowledge areas and planning start with plan something management, or in the case of stakeholder, plan stakeholder engagement. So whether it's plan scope management, cost management, quality management, you get down to stakeholder, it's plan stakeholder engagement, but nonetheless, the pattern is there. And then on side 2 of the graphic, we're going to be looking at control scope downward. It's either control knowledge area name or monitor knowledge area name effectively. So those are some patterns we're going to point out. Now, this is side 1. And you might be going, let me zoom in on that, especially if you're looking at this on your phone. This is where you want to download the PDF, print it out, and you're going to be looking at a number of little things here. So on this side, there's just a bunch of little tables, and the colors all relate to the Crosswind product line. Cost is green, risk is red, scope is blue, things like that. So you don't have to memorize colors, but what's going to happen is the more and more you study, you're going to get to where you know, oh yeah, okay, green, that's something with money. Ah, red, yeah, that's something with risk. Ah, blue, that's something like the sky's the limit. I'm trying to figure out what the project is going to consist of. And so this is, like I said, just a lot of little nitpicky things that could bite you. You know, this is kind of like the toolbox, if you will, maybe the bottom of the toolbox, where there's just a bunch of little things in there, and you don't necessarily always need them, but if something comes up, you know where to find them, and that's the value of some of these things. Now, on side 2, this is where we used one of our whiteboard videos to show you how to draw that entire table in the right part of the virtual dry erase board. Now, I want to clarify something here. So, it's late October right now, late October 2020, and theoretically, an exam is supposed to change January 2nd, 2021 to reflect the new PMP exam. People, processes, business environment. There's supposed to be waterfall, traditional, or waterfall / AKA traditional, agile, and hybrid, which is kind of between waterfall and agile. A lot of people think the exam does not reflect the 6th edition PMBOK guide come January 2nd. It does. The 7th edition is not out yet, and the exam does not necessarily, it's not based on a particular version of the PMBOK guide, but this is the process framework. There's only so many ways you can do these processes, so that's why it's important to know these. Especially if you were to get asked, like here's a situation and it translates to you're doing this process, what do you need to do this? Translate, what did I just create? Or you're doing this process, what do you do next? Okay, what process follows this? So, very important here, do not do columns. When you copy this, do not copy columns. That gets very muddy. I want you to copy rows from left to right. Now, here's why. And some say, well, yeah, but Tony, projects go from initiating through closing. That's how they do things. Well, that's fine. But, you got to learn the letters of the alphabet before you learn how to put words together. And in this case, if I said, what's the 3rd letter of the alphabet, you're going to go C. And if I said, okay, what's the 12th? And you'd have to go A, B, C, D, It's not going to be immediately there for you. Okay, if you copy the orange processes from left to right, the blue processes from left to right, the pink processes from left to right, you get accustomed to hearing those names in your mind and copying them with your hand in that order. It's the equivalent of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like I told one of my students this last weekend, when they said, well, why do I need to copy rows? Well, here's the deal. If you had 5 siblings and somebody said to your parent, so how many kids do you have? And, and if your parent would either say 6 or if somebody said, what's your children's names? Then more than likely they're going to basically say the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. Because that's the order they came in. Now, that's why I want you to copy these processes from left to right. So, for example, orange. I would write my shorthand CH, PMP, EXE, KNOW, MC, ICC, close. Now, that's my shorthand for Develop Project Charter, CH, Develop Project Management Plan, PMP, EXE, Direct and Manage Project Work, so execute the plan, KNOW, Manage Project Knowledge, MC, Monitor and Control Project Work, ICC, Perform Integrated Change Control, and then close project or phase. You'll come up with your own shorthand that works for you. Just like quality in purple. Why write plan quality management, manage quality, control quality? Quality is in all 3. Kind of like algebra. Strike it through. They offset each other. So I plan, I manage, I control. Communication is similar. It's in all 3. I plan, I manage, I monitor. You see? So as you're studying, it's kind of like studying with this hand and copying the brain dump with this hand. The more of both you do, they're going to kind of come together, because you'll start to think about that particular process while you're studying, and you'll think, oh, okay, I did that. I did this other process right before that. And when I'm done here, I go there and I do this. Now, there is a lot of connectivity, I mean, red could connect to blue, to pink, to green, what have you. But there's a lot of value in knowing the orange processes from left to right, the pink processes from left to right, the purple processes from left to right, because in the context of either scope or schedule or cost, etc., that's the order the processes occur in with that subject. Okay, versus if you just copy all of the columns, again, it gets muddy really fast. So don't do that. Don't do that, please. Okay. Anyway, again, it's going to be painful starting out, but do this, and you won't be like some students of mine that basically told me after taking the test, I realized when I sat down and started doing that real test, I should have listened to you more about that. Well, the thing is, part of me as a trainer and as a coach is to get you out of your comfort zone so you grow. And if this, to be blunt, sucks to copy, you're not getting out of your comfort zone. If you get to where you go, yeah, I got it, then I'm getting you out of your comfort zone. Now, another thing I would say, I've seen all sorts of people fail the test that thought, they knew how to test, they knew how to study. I had a high school valedictorian fail the test. She shows up to talk to me after failing the test, and I asked her some questions. She couldn't answer them, some very basic ones. And I said, how many times did you copy the brain dump? Because in my live classes, I normally tell people, I want you copying this twice a day in the evening, during breaks, whatever you can do, at least twice a day. And she said, maybe twice. And I said, twice or twice a day? She goes, no, maybe twice. I was high school valedictorian. I know how to study. Okay, to be blunt, I sucked at high school. I rock at this. I had a guy that had 2 master's degrees from a top 25 university in the United States. He felt he didn't need the exit exam at the end of my class. He would take it home and work on it on his own. And had he done that, I would have seen that he hadn't been copying this, and I would have said, you really need to copy this. And I knew when his test date was. A few weeks go by, I hadn't heard from him. He calls me, Mr. Tony. Yes, I said. He goes, I am so disappointed. I said, well, what happened? He goes, I've never failed anything before in my life. And he said, I have 2 master's degrees from university, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I failed this thing. And I said, okay, well, describe it. I mean, not what you saw, but describe, what you did after we last saw each other. Well, effectively, he was sitting outside of Starbucks right before the test trying to get these processes memorized. Yeah, if you understand the processes, you're going to know what the 49 processes do. You understand this side of this, you're going to know the order they occur in from left to right. So you're going to know what comes before it, what comes after it, etc. That's a really good place to be. Not sipping on coffee right outside Starbucks, probably saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I should have listened to that guy. So don't be like either of those people. Just give me some blind faith, copy this thing, and it's going to pay dividends. Watch our other videos about the virtual whiteboard, and you're going to be able to get some good value out of that whiteboard real estate. Anyway, that's what I've got. Subscribe to the channel. Shoot me emails on how we can help with anything else. info@crosswindpm.com. If this was helpful, you're studying for your PMP exam, and you haven't had a live class yet, or a virtual live class yet, or something, you need something, or maybe you took it through somebody else, you need a refresher, contact us. I've authored 41 books on this. I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at you, and I'm going to make you feel like this is the best investment you ever made in a class. So that would be my suggestion. There's a lot of partners around the world we work with as well that do it the Crosswind way. So, if there's somebody there you're working with, put your trust in them and have them help you get where you need to be as well. So anyway, that's what I've got. You guys have a good rest of the day, and copy that brain dump. Okay, so we just went through a lot of stuff with that brain dump there. So let's just kind of review what we did there. Items to know before the exam, good to have in short-term memory. Watch the 3 whiteboard videos I created for how to do the process table, network diagram, and earn value. You can look at whatever you can do for your equivalent of the brain dump, either on a laminated sheet or the virtual dry erase board. Recognize that it's going to hurt when you start because you're going to be laying it out, looking at it, and just copying it to copy. Some say I can't copy what I don't know. Well, you know what? Keep copying it and get it in your head. And then as you're studying it and it makes sense, it'll fall into place. If it's not in your head, if it's not in your head when it makes sense, then all of a sudden you still got to get it in there, and getting it in there is half the battle. Study wins the race. Focus on shortcuts. That's the only way you're going to speed it up. For example, M in executing is manage, M in monitoring and controlling is monitor. Also, a hint for success, like I think I mentioned earlier, don't be afraid to have a start and stop time and a date on it, so you can keep up with how you're progressing. But also have your spouse or significant other or kids remind/bug or agitate you to do it daily. One of my alumnus, he said he told his kids, every day I can't do this faster than this amount of time. I owe each of you $5. And they said, okay, well, what if you can? He goes, then you guys do extra chores. And he said they liked the first part of that. They didn't like the second part of it too much. And he got it pretty quick because it was pretty costly pretty quickly to him. Anyway, so there we go.